here. I'm overwhelmed with emotion at seeing so many people out in support. I want to start by saying that it was and has been and continues to be the honor of a lifetime to get to represent Missoula and House District 100. Doors over my campaign, and I heard people telling me about various issues. I heard people talking about healthcare, housing, education, and I heard people talking about trans rights as well. And I have stood up on every bill I felt my voice was needed on, and will continue to attempt to do so. When it comes to trans rights, I think about, there was one house I knocked on a rainy spring day, and there was an older woman in there, and it was pouring, and she invited me in, and I broke the rule of canvassing, and I said, sure, no one knows where I am, but I'll go sit in your house. That sounds great. And we had a lovely conversation, and then at the end, she just asked, where are you going to stand on trans stuff? And I said, well, I am trans, so I think you can count on me there. And she started breaking down, and her grandson, her trans grandson, had moved out of the state and wasn't coming back. And what she said to me was, please try to make this state safe enough so my grandbaby can come home. And when we heard Senate Bill 99, the governor's amendments coming back, and I saw not only what the amendments did, but the language he used to talk about trans people and the care that we need, I did what I've always done, which is stand up and speak, pick my words with precision, speak with clarity, and call out the harm that these bills do. We know what we're seeing in response is inherently undemocratic. It attacks the very reason we have elections. I was sent here to speak on behalf of my constituents, speak on behalf of my community. And it is the promise I made when I got elected, and it's the promise that I will continue to keep every single day that I'm in this building. And they picked me in this moment because I said a thing that got through their shield for a second. But what we are really seeing here, both in this moment, historically in this building, and across the country as well, is when groups, marginalized groups, are attacked by legislation. When there are bills, whether they are on trans healthcare, whether they're on indigenous rights, whether they're gun laws, we are seeing bills that harm community members. And when those communities who see the repercussions of those bills have the audacity to stand up and say, this legislation gets us killed, those in power aren't content with just passing those hateful, harmful bills. What they are demanding is silence, and we will not be complicit in our eradication. Our job is in this moment to stand and demand that democracy works. But going forward, our work is to continue to lay that foundation and protect democracy. That means showing up for elections. That means supporting wonderful people like Gwen. And it means, Howell and I are lucky to be in this room that has not had trans voices in the past. But there are places that trans people aren't able to get to. And some of those are big places, and some of those are your dinner tables. So make sure you are fighting for us in those rooms, and make sure you are fighting for democracy and everyone who has faced attacks like this here and across the country. Thank you so much for being here. I love you all.